side. Like, they could have dropped the ball right there. And even though they've won game 1, you can see the faces of RRQ Senna. I was like, that wasn't a good game that we won. Like, yes, we won, sigh of relief, but it's not over yet.
I mean, Bleed made them really work for it,
Yeah.
right? These neutral objective takes and the way that they're playing around Yon specifically is making it so tough for RRQ to guarantee it, right? Even when Yon was by himself, if he had a team when he was trying to make that snipe actually happen on that very last Lord push, it could have been a different story. But I think that Bleed this time, they need to recognize that unfortunately their big problem is Toy, right? At 69 kill participation, he's winning out this lane very hard against Seiji, where he has no business of it doing. Just a little bit of help for Seiji could go a long way for the upcoming match.
I'm surprised by the overall damage output coming from both RRQ Senna and Bleed was this big of a gap, because it felt like the game was a little bit closer than expected, but the overall damage is like, what, a whopping almost 90k difference from RRQ Senna to Bleed Esports.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show that RRQ had so much control over the earlier stages of the game, and that Bleed, they have to either sacrifice members or get chunked out and forcibly recall due to not being able to make it happen. So, again, well done to RRQ Senna once more. I do think that they need to clean up on a couple of their motions, but a bit of warm-up did nobody any wrong. I think that Bleed, as of right now, go back to the draft, right? They've set things up for Seiji, but if he's unable to capitalize on it, they need a new plan.
Yeah, they definitely need a completely new plan to actually figure out how they are gonna come over on top, because as of yet, it's too close to be called comfort here, because it could have gone either ways here. I feel like Edok, if he did not catch that big Numenon blast to actually shut down Bleed down bottom, it could have been a little bit different here. But of course, let's talk about the MVP for that match here. It's gotta be Ian's with his retribution timings for sure.
Yeah, I mean, well, I will say that at the very least, he's really good at just absolutely snowballing out of control, right? Once he got that initial lead, he goes for these big invades with the help of his team, making sure that Yon falls behind. But even so, still, he's great on that time. He's mechanically with the Daytona's welcome, punishing heavy hitters like Gear, for an example, to turn things around. I mean, hopefully we get to see it in these upcoming replays and these highlights for the team, because I think that RRQ Senna, one of their biggest weaknesses thus far has been whether or not they have the resources at the right time, and especially with off-tempo plays coming out from Bleed, they're not used to some of these motions.
Yeah, and speaking of the replays here as well, it feels like Bleed Esports, if they get a very, very good heavy spin and isolate the proper team fights, it's pretty much works in their favor, right? And we saw multiple instances where Yon, he had two decisions to make. Go for isolated heavy spin fights, or try and shove them away from the Nether Realm and then pick them apart. And so far, every single time the intent was there, RRQ Senna quickly responds in a way where, oh, it's not gonna happen. Like, oh, if you're gonna pick this, great. You know, Nether Realm, always a little bit apart, great. Hit and run, back off, great. But eventually they kind of figured it out and just overcome it.
Yeah, they adapted well, and I think that, you know, Bleed, they're sacrificing too much to make certain things happen across the map and not getting as much capitalization as they want to, right? They did hurt Dyron pretty significantly. So I think that Bleed, if anything, need to give Sagitnu a pretty decent matchup, and he needs a hero that's actually able to bleed into the rest of the game rather than just this laner, right? CC, unfortunately, is great at zoning, but unfortunately can't carry the game by herself.
Yeah, this was a very, very sick moment right there. It felt like Bleed Esports should have come up on top, but because they were able to chunk through the stolen Nether Realm coming from Bleed Esports, and because of that small mini interaction, gave Edok enough time to set up for Nether Realm and then extend the fight and extend the stuns on Bleed Esports and just completely wipe the floor with it. So, nicely done coming from RRQ Senna, and personally, I feel like this could have gone either ways. Like, it came down just to was one small call, one small misplay, one wrong call, and just could have flipped the tables.
I mean, to be fair, Bleed did drag the game on pretty hard. They still were able to find the right timings to sacrifice members to drag it so that Seiji is able to bounce back in the game. And I think that's the important thing. Seiji is supposed to scale in this matchup against this Moskov, and he does a good amount of damage. But if he's unable to kind of position himself well, especially with the Lolita, every time that shield is up, he has to stop auto-attacking or look for a different target.
Yeah, it was so difficult, especially if you are in a closed one-way choke point, right? Like,
The shield pretty much says, like, if you hit me, everything gets reflected. It's so annoying, and considering the fact that Bleed Esports has like heroes that has just range. Most of the hard hitters are all range
Yeah.
targets. It's just annoying to deal with.
It might be too tough, but they'll come up with an answer for our upcoming game. Remember, this is a best of 3. So far, match point given over to RRQ Senna. And could they close it out against Bleed from MPLSG? All that and more right after these messages. And we're already back with some more MLBB action here at the SPS. Currently, game point for RRQ Senna as we bring you through the English broadcast. My name is Giving Q. This is Terrence Icy Baby 1-2 for our final BO3 in our first round of the Swiss. And so far, it hasn't been looking too great for Bleed, but at the same time, this could just mean, you know, a draft adjustment.
Hey, that's the thing, right? When it comes to Swiss format, it's brutal, it's savage, it's difficult. And I'm not going to lie, so far, the final 2 series has been pouring their hearts and soul. In this case, Bleed Esports is just one more game away from being knocked down to play even more matches and revealing their strategies before they actually finish their playoffs for MPOSG. So, I don't know, but I feel like they are in a situation where they are learning and improving, but they still have the mechanical skills here, but it all came down to just like very, very small miscalculation and just, you know, they could have won the game. Could have won 50-50, to be honest.
True. They may not have the best tools for the upcoming team fights, but they're willing to sacrifice, right? They're very calculated with the way that they sacrifice, lose resources to gain and stop win conditions from their opponents. With the draft coming up soon, I'm hoping that Bleed stays on that blue side and maybe gives something a little bit more. But instead, they're going to go on red side this time round. And it looks like, again, I'm a little concerned because that means that RRQ, they're going to be playing for Toy because his gold lane, so far, the weakest part about about Bleed is their laning phase.
Well, speaking of laning phase right now, I feel like, again, this time, both sides banning Pelkert as a priority.
He's just
it's
annoying.
a bit weird for me.
He's just super annoying to deal with.
Like Bleed was banning for Pelkert in first phase, and RRQ was banning it in their space. They could have just picked it up for themselves.
I mean, think of it this way, right? If they first pick Hellcurt, that means the red side is going to have all the opportunity to find the counterplay against it, right? So we see the farm is banned, we see the Hellcurt ban. I respect that from RRQ Senna. Bleed decide to get rid of 2 Enchanter-style mages, the Angelin as well as Matilda. That's totally fine, but I don't see enough gold lane bans here. I guess RRQ Senna is really confident, even if it's like Roger versus Harith,
yeah.
It should be a free matchup if the laning is going to be like that.
Like right now, banning off Marksman isn't going to help them as well. Like there's Roger, there's Harith, as well as the triple threat, right? There's no point banning.
I think that RRQ, there's no reason for them to ban it, right? I think it's kind of the onus on Bleed. What does Seiji actually want to have a decent matchup? Because he lost the lane, Moskov versus the Nun, and he had to recall 2 times before eventually getting solo killed on that third turtle.
Okay, Loi was as a priority instead. I was expecting them to maybe ban the Barats instead, considering the fact that they let Loi through,
they first pick themselves and then ban off the Barats, because both of these teams, they do prioritize on Barats a lot. So
no need. Because if they get rid of the Loi, that means Jay, who's known to play Loi before the initial buffs on Loi actually comes, he gets a comfort hero for free, right?
Okay.
So they're limiting the options. They're willing to give away the Barats, but they're willing to take a really strong gold laner. And I think considering Toy's performance in game number 1, if he knows how to play Roger, he's absolutely just going to stomp a Bleed into the ground unless they send members to actually help out Seiji, right? This is based off of first interaction. For all I know, it just could be a bad matchup that Seiji is just not used to. But to be fair, Moskov has been on a rise.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised by this Baxia ban coming from Bleed here. Maybe they're anticipating like, hey, no Baxia, just forcefully pick the Harith and then pick a Phoveus to deal with this Harith.
No, they just wanted to play Fredrin for free. They just wanted to play Fredrin. This means that Barats falls into the hands of RQ Senna as well.
Okay.
Bleed, they lock in the Valentina. Again, very safe start for the side of Bleed. They want to see what RRQ Senna is up to first before they commit to anything.
I don't know. I feel like right now, in terms of matchup here, like, they have a lot of solutions to shut down the Harith, right? Like, even if you don't play a marksman, you put a gold lane Phoveus against a Harith here. As long as Harith drops Salmon Force, that Phoveus is gonna kill the Harith completely.
But that means that you give up on the gold lane, right? Entirely
true.
for the earlier stages. And I don't think Bleed wants to do that just yet. I think they want to set up a really good matchup specifically for the EXP laner. And that's when we see the responses. Really smart, really like it.
Okay.
We do get the Barats. We also get the Vexana to ensure, hey, even if you're Valentina, you better get a strong support right now. If not, I will generally be able to clear out these waves faster. And there we have it. We have the Edith coming in from the side of Bleed to kind of peel backwards against RRQ Senna.
Now they're even banning even more enchanters here coming for Bleed Esports. They don't really want to deal with it, and I think we had this small interaction. If they go for a Rafaela, it actually helps both the Barats and Vexana in a way where the heals gives them additional movement speed to push forward, and also it tops up additional health for the Eternal Guardian for RQ Senna if they decide to go for it. But I'm really surprised Bleed just double down pure enchanters.
Yeah, I think at this point RRQ... No. It's up to Bleed to ban it out, right?
Yeah.
Do they want... I mean, RRQ needs to make Arla look a little more tantalizing. There's still a good number of picks that haven't been selected just yet. Chip, for an example, hasn't been touched within this very first phase. That could be something that RRQ Senna could be playing around. Freya?
What?
Huh. Hey man, I don't know what Gear's been playing in scrims, but it definitely RQ Senna are like, hell nah. Freya?
What?
Are you kidding me? I don't want to deal with that.
Huh?
Hey man, this could be the Sagit News special. Who knows?
Like, okay, I know Bleed Esports has played a game where they brought in an alpha jungle, but Freya? What? Huh?
Hey man, Freya's dangerous in the earlier stages of the game. Nobody really wins these trades against Freya. Maybe Thamos, but even then, that's on the assumption that Freya whiffs something. Yep, Rafaela as well, man. Force him to play the traditional setters.
No more enchanters. Like, play Estes, man. Like, I don't think RRQ Senna even minds if they have a healer or not. Like, I don't think that's the intended draft that they're looking for. But Yujong is in the table, so maybe Bleed Esports could pick up for themselves to kind of disrupt the momentum of the backlines. But if they do so, again, they need somebody to shut down this Harif. And I don't know, man. Like, just making sure all these healers rock.
Okay. Okay, smart from RQ Senna. This should be they should be considering Arlot here.
Yeah, I don't think going for an Esme against Harif is not enough damage.
Not yet, because
Yeah.
I think they want a double flex pick first. It's either they double flex pick or they reveal straight away what their EXP laner is going to be, which I don't think Bleed wants to do. They probably want to hold it up for a little bit later. So they can lock in their gold laner against Harith because that really doesn't reveal much for their comp. They can either go for the Natan and still look to scale. It's going to be tough against the Harith. Roger's not too bad at the same time, but keep in mind that they are dealing with a Vixana as well as a Barats, both of which do really well against the Roger.
Yeah, it's tough. Like, against the Roger, it's very, very difficult. I think Natan has a safer choice here in the sense where he's going to be able to have a little bit of mobility here, but they get the Minotaur instead. Oh, okay. So they want to be the ones that have the only healing in the team, but
It is a very, very team fight oriented composition though.
Yeah,
a lot of
oriented, decent CC. I think that Bleed have taken the high road on this one, saying, "Hey, I'm sorry to get you. We could have set you up for something better, but now you just have to play the Edith."
Wait. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, Edith XP there. I was expecting wait, who's gonna jungle? Okay, Frederick, I've forgotten about that. But Export is gonna be the way to go for RQ Senna. I would say, true damage to deal with 3 tanky heroes from the side of League Esports. And do they double down with another true damage hero? But what else is there? Okay, they got the chips, yeah, whatever, man. Like, everything else but the chip, yeah, whatever, man.
I mean, we were expecting it. They were expecting it, right? As soon as they locked in that Minotaur, they knew it's like, all right, we're giving up Chip whether we like it or not. However, if Chip does set up that portal, I don't think there's too many enablers to walk out of that portal for free, right? Keep that in mind. Because Export is the only person who can walk through the portal and take the damage. Same goes for Barats as well. Vixana, a little scary, right? You gotta be very careful with your timings here.
Yeah, but at least Vexana goes in, you know, if you drop you out, that's it. You know, your job's pretty much done. It's good enough to be an additional meat shield to actually deal with here. Because think about this, they've got so many tanky units as well as wave clears. In terms of wave clear, Bleed Esports not exactly the best wave clear, but they bring in the Mencintar Gold Lane to deal with the Harem. Or is it the XP? I think it's Gold Lane, right?
It should be Gold Lane, right? It should be Seiji playing it, so yeah, it makes sense. They've got a really strong team fight composition, but their scaling is up for debate. I think Toy, if he's not taking Purify, he's trolling right now. He's gotta take Purify. He's gotta take Purify. The only way he loses is if he's stuck in that King's Calling. I would also make an argument that arguably even the Vengeance doesn't sound too bad for him. We'll see what his battle spells are later in the game, but let's jump right into it because RRQ Senna have to deal with a really tough team fight composition against Bleed Esports. The only thing that RRQ has a decent advantage over is forcibly taking fights, right? 3v4s, 5v4s, even 2v1s is a possibility. Honestly, a 1v5 even is a possibility for RRQ Senna if the chip is in the right place at the right time.
Now, without further ado, we're going to be going into his game number 2 for the final series here in SBS. And it is going to be RRQ Senna going up against Bleed Esports to fight to advance. And this is going to be game 2. Dian starting things off on the purple buff. And for Bleed, it is going to be the orange buff.
Yep, they're going to quickly clear this up. I don't think Seiji wants to have that much control over the lane. He wants that Harith to hard push it, because he's not going to be winning until he hits level 2. And even when he hits level 2, it's assuming that that Spear of Glory actually connects. Ians is going to be on the bottom side of the map. They're straying away from the gold lane. They want to leave them on an island.
You know, personally, I feel like Bleed Esports has set up in a way to make this Minsitar work, right? Like, how this King's Calling kind of works is that once you drop it, you have about 3 seconds to burst him down. If not, he's going to be able to walk out here. So anything that can keep Harith alive is going to be completely shut down. And now, in terms of Purifies, you talked about it here, his battle spell is going to be Purify on Toy.
Yep, that's exactly what we want to see here. And I mean, even Tenacity has been picked up from Octa, because he knows that he's the only other target that Bleed actually have to potentially punish. Now, Yawns, he's pretty big right now. He's level 4. Daytona's welcome. They guarantee first blood here.
Okay, they're going for the pick here. Jay going to be losing a lot of life. Nope, he's going to flicker away. But at the same time, RRQ Senna continuing with their pressure. and there's nothing Bleed can do about this, to be honest.
Good save from Sagitnu. That Earth Shatter literally saved their team from first blood, not allowing Octa to close the distance to put him in range to be dropping skill shots from afar. This whole time, Jay has just been taking it up the butt. He has forcefully been recalling 2 times, one in the earlier stages and he lost the level for that, and now once again, 1 minute 30 seconds into this game, he cannot breathe.
Yeah, speaking of breathing right now, like I feel like Sagit, he has been doing really well in his past 2 previous game as well. Like he's doing all he can. As long as he doesn't die and trade 50-50, he's all good. But top side, oh no, he's dead. There's no way he survives this.
Bye-bye.
Okay, one more dash. Oh, no.
No,
What?
He survives it. Wow. I thought... Dang, okay, Sagitnu is able to get back out of here. Here comes the last Insanity, stolen away by Jay. Doesn't find the trade onto Dyrant.
Jay now going to be taking a little bit too much damage, and he is
Bye-bye.
also going to fall. But no, he doesn't. They turned the tide. They were able to trade Dyrant as well as Enoch. What a clutch, just stolen last Insanity from Jay, just keeping him alive. It's crazy.
So sad on both sides. Single digits left. Seiji ends up living with a sliver of his health. He should have died there, but unfortunately, RRQ Sonic was not able to interweave the auto attack. But the rest of the team also taking a good amount of punishment down on the bottom side. Like Octa, he's dependent on his skills, and right now, Dyrant, and top of the damage leaderboards, right under him is IDOC, and finally Ayan. So a majority of RRQ Senna leading in terms of damage.
Oh boy, now before the first turtle clash here, seems like they are setting up for a little bit of play, but again now Daytona's welcome up, gonna completely whiff the mark here. Nothing super big in here, but now they are gonna try and force a fire Darren here. They are gonna chip away at his Miraga armor, but he's gonna try his best to get out, getting taunted his way through, getting kited as well. Darren does have the flicker, he's gonna be a-okay unless the Valentina jumps into play, but nope, not gonna be here. Zagit, yeah, he's dead. It's no way he survives.
No, I'm telling you, give this man Arlet, dude. He's stuck on this Edith, and he's like, please, I can do so much more. He's winning out in this lane when he honestly shouldn't be.
2-0-0 right now. Bleed Esports. A very, very big bounce back, but in terms of kills, they are leading, but in terms of economy, RQ Senna right now, 800 ahead. Crazy.
I mean, Bleed like to keep it close, right? It's going to come down to these moment-to-moment plays that RQ Senna have shown to be much better at in comparison to Bleed Esports. But at the same time, at least they're fixing their laning phase, right? A couple of close calls, don't get me wrong, but still, they're alive.
Yeah. An interesting fact is that now Seiji's got the Corrosion Scythe, and to top it off, Jay does have a very, very early Necklace of Durance for this fight, which is insane. Just to deal with the Harem rather early, that's so much emphasis on him.
I mean, he got the Gleaming Gem. At this point, he might as well, right? I don't think it's too far off. Seiji.
Oh, here comes the hook coming in. Daytona's welcome will get out, but here comes the drop as well. They've got the shot guys on tree, man. So much damage. Seiji first to fall. They've got the Minarich, but the turtle has been secured by Bleed Esports, and they need to get out. Yon now is gonna fall to the Insanity double kill for RRQ Senna. Just like that, it closes the bomb. It's not over yet. Okay, he is going to be fine. But Bleed, they just can't catch a break.
Very good fear from Octa. If he didn't land that fear, Jay would have been able to close the distance and found a trade back. But in the meantime, at least for Toy, having the time of his life, not only is he 1,000 gold ahead of his counterpart in Seiji, but has already cracked open that tier 1. An early lane swap from both Bleed and as well as RRQ Senna to compensate.
Very, very difficult run here, but items here, very early Durance, not doing a lot of damage here, but ooh, Seiji does have shoes. Oh wait, he does have shoes. And Corrosion Scythe, okay.
Man, Seiji is so far behind in comparison to Toy. This is really
know, right?
sad. A full 1,000 gold here. And Seiji unfortunately hasn't been able to really play the game. Even in that past fight, he wasn't able to get his ult down or even flicker down at the right time. He's getting targeted by RRQ Senna, knowing that he has one of the more valuable ults in the team.
Oh no, Chips, he actually got the portal on the wrong side. He found gear, he's all by himself. He needs to get out. Do they catch him? No, he's just too fast, too furry. Oh boy.
I mean, good coverage coming in from the Ians, right?
Yeah, it even steals the objectives away. Yon, one level behind here. Now they need this crab, and Ians is just not giving it to him here on the sides. Again, they are going to try and poke onto his Darren here. Furka armor being poked away. Nope. Still has it. Still has it. But no, they force a fight on the east side. Do they? No, okay. They can't fight it. Oh, wait a minute. What is this scuffle here? Seiji? Seiji? No!
God.
He dropped the Clicks calling. Ah, that should not happen. Bleed, what are you guys doing here? Suck into. He is going to be pulled back. Nope, he's not. He's going to be able to get out. They're just dancing with spells, but no one is dying.
Okay, so this means that this should be a free tier 1, free turtle as well, unless they respond. It looks like Bleed don't want to contest for the turtle, instead will be contesting for the tier 1.
Oh, bottom lane here. They do drop the Examine Force. Minoron's Rage completely airballing here. Eop, he's going to drop the shotgun. He's return the fights gear. He's going to run for his life. They've got tier 1 protection, but they're slowly burning him alive. Seiji poking his little knife here, but he won't fall. Drena gets one kill. Gear trying to heal them back to safety, but they're all fighting under turret, but it's somehow still surviving. They get the trade on Ians, and Yon needs to get out, and Sagin still somehow alive. He's got the Storm, the Eternal Gun, still holding on, but Bleed, they're able to turn it around. What was that scuffle?
Dang, really nicely done by Bleed. Looks like they are warmed up. Even the team fighting, they walk away ahead of the curve despite RRQ Senna having the initial economic lead. Wow.
Yo, I think we need a replay of that here. There's just so many individual micro plays from all these players to drag this fight longer than that is crazy.
It's really good push and pull from Bleed Esports. Really, really good. But we look at the damage leaderboard, and guess who's on top? It's going to be Ians this time round. And, well, I mean, they're all contesting for top 5. Jay still keeping it in there for Bleed Esports, dealing the most damage on his team. But at the same time, Okta is catching up real quick. Only 643 damage off from overlapping him.
Oh boy. Seeing how close this has happened here, RRQ Senna, they may be in the lead, but they're underestimating Bleed's powers by it a little bit too much here, to be honest. But again, they do have the damage to work with. Middle lane, do see Valentina going for a couple pokes, half HP being chipped away. But RRQ Senna now on the Oppressor.
I mean, look at them. They're just making sure that this no man land is bleeding past the river, right? They're trying to control every single one of these bushes. They want to make sure that Pixel Brush is covered. Yon, he can't get out of here, right? This might be a Daytona's welcome angle, but no. They see Gear 2 nearby. It's not worthwhile.
Yeah, he actually used it as well. But again, right now, Bleed, they're just, you know, trading evenly here. They don't really want to give up too much control. And with this Lord coming in as well, RQ has no choice but to force the fight. But as of yet, Bleed, they're holding out somehow.
They're holding out because that's what they do. They know exactly what they need to sacrifice, and if they're able to force a 50-50 onto Bleed, trading equally, that's the most ideal situation. But now, it's about how do they get ahead.
Sagin, they're going for the combo. Yes, very, very tanky here, but they do not focus the damage. A shortcut has been used. They focus on Sagin. He's flicking backwards as well. He's going to fall. That's going to be the first one down for Bleed Esports. RRQ continuing with their push as they try to look for more. Yon tries to go for the stun. He doesn't connect, but he's getting chipped away and mowed down for now. Bleed is a 4v5. They have to sync up their waves. Gear taking a little bit too much damage. Examine Force comes in. Toy gets free range on the Examine Force. Seiji doesn't even drop the King's Glory. The Lord reset it for now, but Daytona's welcome will gobble down on Yon.
Hey, yo!
And the fight comes in, and he loses Yon. And as of yet, Jay, he gets a trade, but he's gonna fall as Toy runs rampant all by himself.
Dude, is Seiji holding his alt flicker until next year? What's going on? What's going on? Why is he taking his sweet time to do this? You're not gonna find the perfect scenario. Help out your dang team! Somebody needs to do it, and it's gotta be Seiji because everybody else has done everything they can.
Yeah, now Sagin is gonna fall as well. He popped the grab here. He's gonna try and make a play, but it's only an Edith. He's trying to threaten them for as long as he can, but
he can't do
there's
anything.
only so much an Edith can do.
He can't do anything here. Give him Arlott and maybe he can do something, but like, this is so rough. Bleed is not participating in these fights at all. They're basically playing 4v5, and they're off tempo, right? So RRQ Senna get to do this push and pull for free, right? Not even intersected, but pulling the fight to the left side, then pulling it to the right side. Like, Bleed Esports need to be together on what they want to do. They cannot just break apart because that's what their composition is weak in doing. Smaller skirmishes is not ideal for Bleed.
Yeah, and this Mincetar is starting to, hit very, very fast, but the damage spike is just a little bit lacking compared to what Toy brings to the table. And as of yet, Jan's looking for the black line flying.
Just wait for
Seiji.
Seiji.
Disengage this tier 1. Now, no point defending this, man. They can't do it.
I mean, they can hold on to this tier 1, but until that next wave, I don't think they can handle it anymore. With a synced wave down on both sides and Chip, just to bring the entire team, if anyone decides to be a little bit too bold, they're going to force Bleed back into their inhibitor turrets.
Oh, great engagements coming from RRQ, Senna, as Bleed Esports now. What can they do, man? Like, this is so scuffed to look at.
I mean, they can consider putting Sagito into the role position. That's another thing. Because right now, I'm just waiting for Seiji to find the big King's Calling, right? That's what they need.
Yeah, they
This is an
definitely
angle.
need to drop
This is an
something as
angle.
well. No, they
Oh
going
my
for the pull.
God.
They gobbled gear up. He is going to be the first to fall. Sagit still waiting for the right moment. Seiji nowhere to be found. Does not go for the pull. And now
Here we
goes
go.
in for the little tree. Man, King's Glory finally wipes the floor. They get the Vex. They get Octa. They get Toy. The biggest catch. Patience finally pays off for Bleed Esports. But at what expense?
Yes, finally. Seiji gets to play the game. He's playing the game, boys. He's playing the game. He's back in it. Now we look at the gold leaderboard. So far, Toy is still on top, of course, but this is starting to get a little frustrating. Oh, man, Yon does not win this.
Okay.
Jay gets involved as well, but I don't...
Oh,
Okay, wait, he loses.
Okay, he's got
Loses
Flicker.
Flicker.
Tier 1 still stands. He's gonna fall. He's got
He's
Immortality.
got
here.
he's got immortality.
I don't think they can kill him. No, they can't kill him.
100% they can't kill him.
No way.
100% they cannot kill this man.
But
Now,
outside,
topside,
suck it. Oh, okay. He's not an export.
he's definitely not the expert. I'm telling you, dude. Poor Sagitnu, man. The poor guy just wants to play the video game. We need to wait for these bigger moments, right? Because right now, Bleed Esports are too nervous to do anything. They need to recognize that the gold lead isn't too far away. It's only 2.7. A single team fight could turn it into their favor. And I think Bleed, knowing them, they're probably going to wait till 42k before they actually start participating in fights.
Okay, it was a 300 damage spike. Now it's 700 now. So Seiji again needs the big King stories there. And also uncontested poke so far.
He needs to jump in, King's Glory, flicker into the middle of all 5 of them, and then after that, go with the spear. Go in with spear and communicate with Gear who he's targeting, so that Gear can flicker onto the target.
Half HP on the Lord Bleed Esports. Can they make the play? Yon is forced to disengage here, getting zoned out by this export, but he eventually needs to get out. Ian just bullying them for now. Toy drops it. 7 force forward as well. He's gonna get stunned, but where's huh?
Gear and
What?
as well as Seiji is on the top side of the map. They did not want to participate.
Oh.
Again, I told you they're waiting for 42k. If they're not in position to guarantee this turtle take, they're not willing to coin flip. And I think that RRQ Senna, that's what's really making the difference here. Their willingness to coin flip, the confidence that they can walk into a fight and say, hey, we can trade as long as we get 1 kill worth of difference against them, it is worth our time.
Well, seeing how this is going as well, RRQ currently in prime position to close out this game. Tier 3s, pretty much all lanes shoved in. Lord.
This is where it's tough.
Yeah.
If they overextend here, even if they get all the inhibitors, one really bad fight could put Bleed back into the driver's seat.
Yeah, speaking of the driver's seat here, they're doing a lot of damage here, but Seiji, he's gonna get caught out. No, he's dead. He is gonna be chasing CC here, but the back line stream has been ordering from here. They're gonna go for the fight as well, but where is the King's calling involved? Seiji, he disengaged. He's gonna get out here. He used it defensively to get out to keep things alive. RRQ, they lose one. They somehow manage to defend, but they lose another inhibitor for Bleed Esports.
Oh man, they lose all their inhibitors here. Bleed Esports, they are willing to sacrifice everything and anything to keep themselves up in the game. They know it just takes one fight, one good fight against RRQ Senna to put them back in the driver's seat. And right now, I'm looking at you, Seiji. That King's calling needs to be followed up. Somebody, I mean, everybody's setting up for him, but the man needs to jump in.
Yeah, he's currently having the lowest amount of damage output here, 17,000 up on Seiji. He's looking for the right hooks every single time, and I don't know, man, Toy's top damage as a gold laner.
Right now, Gear has the right idea. He is looking at that backline. He is holding on to his ultimate to make sure that backline doesn't get ahead. Because they play front to front. The traditional frontliners for RRQ Senna eventually will fall down. People like Dyren losing that Firaga armor is a big deal. For Ians, if he loses, if he ends up being put down to 50% of his health, he can't frontline anymore. Octa, he's trying to maintain distance. He knows that he can get flickered on, right? So Bleed Esports need to capitalize on that backline when Gear finds an opportunity like that. But inevitably, RRQ did lose out on EXP, and this allows Bleed Esports to catch back up, and the Gold League just does not matter now.
Yeah, and seeing how this is actually happening as well, it feels like RRQ, even though this Barazza's timing has kind of fallen off level 15, they kind of equalized with Yon so far, but it feels like the counter engagement for Bleed is just not good enough. But now with the Middle Figure on Seiji, do you think he's going to be able to contribute more?
I mean, Seiji, his ult is more than enough, right? He can build full tank and just pop the ult, and he's still more useful than what he's doing right now. So far, he's looking for the, he wants to find 5. He's not going to find 5, but neither can he find Toy specifically. He's the only person he can really affect.
Oh no, Yon, he taunt fob forward, they forced the Salmon Force. That's huge for Bleed Esports.
No, don't walk up! Don't walk up! He needs to call the whole team! Don't walk up, please.
Wait, huh? He's not going in?
No. He shouldn't be going in because he doesn't know where the members of Bleed Esports. They want to hold them hostage underneath this Lord.
Yeah, they're going to try and shove the lane here, but now with the Lord coming in, RQ, they're going to try and focus on Lord here. Meanwhile, Bleed Esports, they have to disengage for now. Now, Edolf finally shows himself. He's going to try and drop the shortcut, but it doesn't matter. They're picking up the back line. King's calling. Seiji looking for the hook. He's trying. He's got it for now. Now, 4-man King's calling to turn the tide. And Bleed Esports flips the table. Enoch is down, so is Ian. Now, Toy, with no King's calling, full Salmon Force, gets a double. He trades off 2 for 2. And now with the Lord coming in, Bleed Esports, they've lost all damage. Crystal won't be focused down as RRQ Senna takes the 2-0 against Bleed.
Oh, that was stressful for RRQ Senna. You can see the sigh of relief of like, whoa, guys, we nearly whiffed that. We nearly gave him a chance to come back after a Lord secure here. They overextended and Toy outplays the situation regardless. What a man to rely on.
Oh, all hope was lost for Bleed Esports. They needed the perfect catch for Seiji. It looked good, but it was Toy that waited patiently for the Salmon Force, and then once the King's Calling drops down, they take the W. They just wipe the floor with every single one from the side of Bleed Esports. It's just too hard to watch, I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, it's tough. It's really, really tough. And RRQ Senna, they take an early bow out off their Bali major chairs here just to remember the accolades for the organization that they work under. But still, what an absolute game here. We are seeing 14-14, dead even, and even the gold isn't too far apart. Like Bleed, they are sacrificing everything to hit their power spikes, but they need to be bold, they need to be brave, and the worst part is that they're not together on these engages.
Yeah, it was very, very difficult here, considering that I think the lanes were just completely exposed on the side lanes, right? Like every single time Seiji needs to lane manage, he's also afraid of the fact that, you know, if he gets dived on by these chips, he's pretty much done for. Because he's super squishy. Look at his items, man.
I mean, he is super squishy, but that's why he needed Gear to set it up for him, right? It can't be the opposite way around because he blows up and melts under just the raw damage. Even from a single combo from Octa is more than enough to put Seiji at from 100 to 0. That's why he's waiting on Gear to find these big moments. And even then, Seiji is just not in the positions to get there, right? He's in Flicker range. He's still holding on to that King's Calling. And sometimes I think they should just drop the King's Calling as a disengage mechanic to de-incentivize RRQ from actually collapsing on the pincer. So many times, Bleed were flip-floppy on the decision, but they all make it at the same time.
Oh boy, now speaking of the overall damage taken here, it seems like Bleed Esports, they will be the ones that take the most damage, but the amount of damage dealt so far, a big disparity compared to RRQ in this case. I don't know, man. Seiji's got 26,000 as compared to Toy, 93,000, who's quote-unquote supposed to be hard countered by Seiji.
I mean, that's the thing, right? That's the thing. I think Bleed have a lot to work on here to kind of fix this roster up. A lot of it just comes down to communication. I don't think their drafts are too bad, and generally they have the right idea to play the game. It's just that the execution is really suffering when it comes down to the laning phase. That, except for Saginu, I think he played his laning phase absolutely perfect. He should never be able to get that far ahead, especially when you're up against like especially when you're up against an X-Borg, if anything, right?
I think Sagit played really, really well into his games here. There's only so much an XP laner can do, but again, the composition was just a little bit difficult to actually pull off because it came down to focus firing and also choosing which fights to take. And so far, Bleed Esports is very good at playing from behind, but again, they just needed one mistake from RQ Senna, and so far, RQ Senna did not make that mistake at all.
I mean, technically, they did it 3 times that game, and
Okay,
Bleed weren't able to capitalize on it. And that's the part that hurts so bad, because the angle is so clear. There's such a very clear direction with the way they go. Even if Seiji isn't able to get Toy in time, at the very least, melt away those frontliners, right? Deny RRQ people who can, like, anchor down after they claim the space, because again, RRQ, they started to get really disrespectful with the way that they were walking up against Bleed, and again, once they recognized the second time they got punished, they're like, okay, hold up, we got to be real careful here. Seiji, he's a little scared to jump into these fights, but when he does, we've lost every single time.
Yeah, like, I think it was a 4-man Kings calling right under the noses of Bleed Esports, and technically they should have won from Bleed Esports, but RQ Senna was like, great, 4 of us got caught. Who didn't get caught? And that guy was the one that needs to actually save the day. In this case, there was, I think it was Toy in the last final fight here. But let's take a look at the highlights here of what went down here.
Yeah, I think this was a really beautiful fight from both sides, right? And this shows that even RRQ are still a little human at the end of the day. They ended up overextending. Nobody wanted to attack the turret, so they had to take the long way around. But look at this push and pull from Bleed's side, right? Trading consistently against each other, looking for any opportunity for punishment.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that Bleed was, like, RQ Senna was able to get away with it here, considering the amount of overextension that they've done, right? Like, Bleed Esports, they're under turret. Why would you commit to this fight? And somehow they were able to trade evenly in that situation. So RQ Senna just played a better overall micro game in that engagement.
I think that Bleed, unfortunately, don't make their decisions fast enough.
Yeah.
I think that's the saddest part, right? In this one, Seiji finds like an incredible King's Spear of Glory here, right? The King's Column follows up immediately after to ensure they have no means of escape. But keep in mind, right, a majority of the members from RQ Senna are rocking the Flicker, so they can't just walk away for free. And this one, great job from Saginu, not giving another backdoor opportunity to RQ Senna.
Yeah, technically, if they dropped the backdoor hit, they could have just ended then and there. But again, it was very, very difficult here. We've seen it before. Happened in previous year history here, but again, this one's a 4-man chip stun coming from Edok, who gave him the necessary shield and stopped the tempo of Bleed Esports, which kind of turned the tables. But again, Bleed Esports, they had the situation under control, right? Like, it looked good, but eventually the biggest threat is still got to be Toy. Like, that was the intention of bringing the Min Sitar to the table, which is to shut down and Harif. And in this case, if the Harif doesn't get shut down, GG well played.
I mean, to be fair, RQ Senna, they realize, like, they're worried about our very first cycle of abilities, but Zaman Force is really short, considerably short after you have the extra CDR, after you're level 15 as well. It's like, what, 20 seconds before it comes back up? So if you drag the fight long enough, then you're going to get the Zaman Force again. So it's like, I don't know at what point was the ideal situation for Bleed. We can see the picture of what it's supposed to look like, but at the same time, we didn't see them expand upon it.
Yeah, it was very, very difficult to pull off as well. I think I've seen a couple of teams trying to have the same idea to shut down the Harif, but it was just very, very good, difficult to translate, right? Like, if you're talking about gold leaders, technically DPS carries, right? You don't necessarily have the tankiest composition. You are going to be in a situation where you get poked back, you're dead. And in this case, Mincetar has been put in a situation where he's got full damage, but if you get focus fire, you're going to instantly melt. And I think that's the idea that Seiji has had in terms of mindset. And because of that, it was just hard.
I feel like he's too nervous to make a mistake here. Considering game one just boiled down to him losing the laning phase a little too hard. He eventually came back, but still, it would have been a lot easier had he just went even in that laning phase, right? I think a lot of pressure was put on his shoulders and he kind of crumbled underneath it. So again, something to actually work on for the side of Bleed. There's still overall pretty young roster all across the board. Well, obviously, with Saginu being one of the older members to kind of keep him in check, but he's an EXP laner, and there's only so much impact an EXP laner can get you through.
I think based on what we're seeing here, I feel like Bleed has a lot of opportunities to expand from this year, but right now they have to do it from the, I would say, elimination format. Like I would say the bottom side here, and on the different
O1s?
O1s brackets. In this case, it's tough. I don't know, man. Like if they lose another game, that's it.
Hey, who knows? Maybe they win out the raffle here and play against a weaker team to maybe get a couple of points that actually keep them on. I mean, that's what you can hope for, right?
True.
Amongst these 32 teams, only 4 are going to make it to the next round.
Yeah.
That's a big cut. Usually it's like, oh, 32 becomes 16, and then 16 becomes 8. Nah. 32 down to 4.
Yeah, it all comes down to who's going to be the better player, because as of now you cannot afford to lose, and that's why Swiss formats is just brutal here. You're just given only maximum of 2 chances. That's it. You lose a series, that's it. You go down. If you lose again, that's it. That's the end of the journey, and it doesn't just ends there. Like it's not like, oh, I'm going to do this 5 times. I'm going to do this 5 times and then 5 more and then go to the challenge finals.
Yeah, I'm still, regardless, this is how the format has been for a while for the SPS, especially during the earlier stages. That's why these teams highly prioritize just working on your best comp, looking to win as many of these games as possible and as early as possible, because later down the line, it's only going to get more and more tough.
Yeah, and to be honest, right now we've caught a glimpse on how round 1 is going to be looking like for the Swiss format here. And so far on the English broadcast, we've pretty much covered the 4 matches, 4 series so far, and I'm pretty sure there are also other teams that's going to be playing on the respective broadcast channel here. Later on, I think we will catch a glimpse on that bracket, but I'm also pretty sure that tomorrow is going to be round 2 as well of the series. So it's very, very quick, very, very difficult for all these teams to progress, because they don't have a lot of time to analyze as well, considering how long the games are going to be played out throughout the day.
100%. That's why we're seeing that some of these, big name teams are bringing out their B teams. Let's not forget that there's still MPL playoffs still coming around the corner for a majority of the major regions here in Southeast Asia. So that's why they don't want to show their strats just yet, and the quality of games probably is going to take a little bit of a dip here. But that's fine, right? Once that slowly cleans up, maybe their main roster is going to be playing, especially if their teams go far here at the SPS.
Yeah, it's still going to be a long journey for all of them as well here, because if I do recall this, it's today, tomorrow, and then 2-3 weeks later on, and then respective months before they actually go to the overall grand finals, which quote unquote I heard is in Indonesia.
Yeah, I heard so too. A lot of exciting stuff to actually happen. So keep in mind, with a lot of these namesake teams, we're hoping that a tier 2 is going to shine above the rest. Last year, it was Game Lab as well as Euphoria.
Yeah.
Both of those teams really stood out amongst the rest, but they couldn't get through the next round once the tier 1 team started to come in. They took 1 or 2 games overall, but they weren't able to move to the next round, which is the important thing to say here.
I think when it comes to SPS here, it's a great proving grounds for a lot of players to, who are looking to be scouted or to push themselves to the next step on I would say evolution as a pro player. To think about it.
Well,
Think about this, right? Game Labs Euphoria, they went through a bit from SPS, and guess what? They were picked up by tier 1 teams.
That's fair. Well, it kind of depends on what you consider tier 1 teams.
Okay.
I'm not going to delve too far in it, because we're the biggest perpetrators of getting imports. Yep. Malaysia and Singapore, we love you guys. We love your imports. We'll keep on taking them as long as they're okay with it. But with that being said, that wraps up for our 4 best of 3s that we've been having here today for round 1 of the Swiss format here at the SPS Mobile Legends Division. My name is Gideon Q. This is Terrence ICBaby12, keeping you guys company until the very end. This is going to be the end of the day, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed, and stay tuned for tomorrow, where we will have more Mobile Legends action, and hopefully we see one rise to the top. We'll see you tomorrow.
The Snapdragon Pro Series is brought to you by Snapdragon Elite Gaming, Monster Energy, and DHL.